I'm Timmy.
I'm Justin.
I'm Nathan.
And this is Three Old Tech Dudes. He didn't have all
But
that.
wait, there's more.
Smoke.
Oh no!
No,
Oh, man,
it's
she's
a-
smoking.
It's a piece of like cat fur or
Yeah,
something.
maybe what I saw. Yeah, it's
'Cause
definitely not.
I don't have cats. You know, my cat's
right.
nuts, but
So, what's this little feller?
I know what it is. It's the world famous, super awesome, early 80s trash 80.
yep, Model 4.
The TRS-80 series. The
Yep.
original, not the color computers, which
Nope,
we
this
featured on the channel.
So I have the 3 and a 4, and this is the 4. The 3, I just get it's buried behind my synthesizers right now because
So-
is there a 2 and a 1?
there's a 1.
There
The
is a
2
1.
is a completely different beast.
Yeah.
Why are those
Um,
not in this room?
Because I don't own a 1. I need to own
The
a 1 and a
one-
2.
The one was the
It was the original.
1977
Yeah.
Trinity, as they call it, of personal computers that weren't mainframe based or mini computers.
Oh
big
yeah,
big
these were
things.
the first
The original
first computers.
TRS-80,
Yeah.
the Commodore PET, and the Apple II.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So
And those are
Me an Apple II.
yeah, it would be cool.
I sad things I've gotten rid of over the years,
So,
like pallets of those things.
You actually
You've,
got rid of the variant that I
You've
wanted
been
to.
through a battle with this thing, haven't you?
Oh, we had to replace a lot of caps. Yeah, there's that's the amount of caps for 2 of them, just so you know. Plus 1 part
Oh.
that's not a capacitor, and when I see which
Like
broke
another
on me.
popped Rifa cap.
Yeah,
That's
so
just like in the Blue TV video.
Here's the good one
That's what blew up on it. In it.
that hasn't exploded
Yep.
yet, although it's cracked.
Pointy.
Yeah.
And that's the one that was actually in this when I turned it on.
Wow.
It made bad smell.
You could probably annoyingly injure somebody with one of these.
Oh yeah. Got
That
some memory
chip.
chips here.
I
Hey,
mean, that's
hey,
the one that
hey.
broke. Yeah.
See?
So, yeah, if you're gonna restore one of these, actually, real quick, because so this one actually had the what do they call it, the smear of death, or the dreaded video smear, and you'll notice it doesn't now. And I did not replace the computer,
Not the whole computer.
not the whole computer. No, I had to replace.
Mind me, I've cleaned up.
There was yes. So when you get to the coil,
Maybe
There it
already
is.
have.
brown right there.
Oh, there you go.
So this part, which is just a little coil in the video board and the actual like CRT drive board that's in line, it's a
Henry's.
L401, I think it is.
They're Henry's.
We'll put it down there.
Yeah.
It is it's open. That was causing the issues with these. So if you have one of these that has that dreaded video smear going across,
And it's
if
not
you
pretty.
if you look at that little part under like just with it turned off and apart, of course you put a ohm meter across it, it basically is open.
It's amazing what one coil the trouble can cause in a circuit
my.
like that. That's a resonant circuit. So,
Because if you look at the voltage, oddly enough, it still is getting enough voltage to look kind of right, but it's not,
No.
not at all. But if you replace that with, I want to say it was like a 33 microhenry or something like that. It's in the schematics, and you can find those online real easy. Yeah, you just replace that part, and boom, it's happy again. Now, I still need to clean this thing because it's still nasty, filthy. I'm pretty sure this was in a storage unit for a good 20 years.
I bet.
We've got some scuffs up here.
Yeah, there's
Been bumped around.
It's been used. a
yeah,
little bit.
it needs some shine juice put on it.
So,
Yeah,
you had to put a lot of effort into repairing this. You worked on this for quite a while.
I worked on that thing for quite a while. Yeah, I had that one for a while, and then I wound up I just kind of got frustrated with it, and I decided to buy a Model 3 that had a different issue, and then figure out exactly where. And once I did that, it took me, I think, an hour
to really get one
to figure out
one
exactly
go, yeah.
where the actual problem was.
Sure.
And once I had one of these going, then it took probably another 2 hours total
Yep.
to get them both completely
Sweet.
functional.
So they both work. That's awesome.
I'll write that a little bit. Okay, so you can see the issue with this. It's got the video smear problem, and it's pretty advanced in this particular one. So, yeah, and not to mention this thing really needs a good cleaning. But first thing I should do is probably get that video issue fixed and then go from there. So, of course, what better way to, fix one, especially if you don't really have exact information as to the whole thing. So the best way to fix one is probably get another one or a similar model. Like cars would be like, S10 is on a S15 or something like that. But so in this case, I got my Model 4 here. But, well, yeah. Yeah, I don't know why either. But now I have a Model 4 and a Model 3 both. This one, I've already actually kind of gone through this and worked on this a little bit. And I have some video that will show that here in the process. But the cord was even cut on this thing. But this one did not have that problem. Did not have the video smear issue. This one actually only had minor issues. But they all need recapped. That's a really, really critical thing that you need to do in these. Before you really even try and turn these things on, there's a capacitor you need to pull out of the power supply or it will explode pretty much every time. Yeah, it's and it creates a smell, which, yeah, first time I powered this one up, yeah, it smelled for a couple hours. So let's go through the troubleshooting process using one of them here that is not having the issue with one that is. And I even got it down to which board, which part, and yeah. So we'll go through this troubleshooting and get this thing up and running, and then show them to you here when we get them up and running. Okay. Well, this is the power board out of the TRS-80. So I've swapped a couple components out mainly already. Really, because I started working on this and I didn't get the footage. I wish I would have, because when that guy exploded, who was right there, yeah, it smelled bad, like really, really bad. It's kind of fun too, because it exploded then fizzled. But this is one of those caps that you definitely want to change. It's just a horrible, horrible cap. Let's see if I get the focus on there, maybe. It's trying. There we go. Anyway, that guy needs to go away. So this is the main power supply out of the computer. Now this is kind of funny. So this is the board out of my TRS-80 Model 4. This is not most people's board out of Model 4. This is most of the board. Mostly this board was used in the 3, but considering that my unit I think was an early production unit, they finished up using what they had before they moved on. So this is the main power supply board out of a 3, and then up there, which it's kind of out of frame right now, is the CRT, and it actually has the CRT drive board out of a 3, but everything else is a 4. So that's one of the issues you got, that you have to kind of, if you buy one of these to refurbish or whatever, or get back up and running, keep in mind you probably need both the 3 and the 4 service manual. So let's go ahead. Also want to show you some funny things. So most of these caps actually are in pretty good shape, especially since the fact that these are really from the early 1980s. They're surprisingly in good shape. But here's the funny thing. So I've replaced a few of the caps already because I kind of got started on this. And this is a 25 volt, 470 mic capacitor. If it will focus. There it goes. So this is a standard capacitor, that's on this board. This is a modern equivalent to it. Yeah. So here's a bag of them. Yeah. Same thing. Except these actually go higher temperature. Although this power supply doesn't really get all that hot, so that's not as lethal of a thing. So this capacitor here is probably the only one I don't have right now. And honestly, it kind of got lost in shipping right now, so it shows it's in the Postal Service system, but we don't know where. So we're going to go ahead and replace these 3, and this one, which there's a mate to that one there, which was here. I pulled it out, but these are, this is actually a 250 volt 100 mic, and this is a 250 volt 47 mic. I guess I can show that to you, it'll work better. So I have the replacement of a single 200 mic 250 volt capacitor. So yeah, the technology just simply moved on. So I think we'll go ahead and swap this one out first. And these two capacitors that were on here, this one and the other one, are actually parallels on the back of this, so that goes from one to the other. So you can replace it with one modern, and it would be fine. Okay. So on these, you'll need a little bit of solder to get it going. There we go. Alright, so I'll probably just do this and we'll like zip through this really quickly here. I'll move over. Okay, you see the measure, they listed the plus on this. And then blank says plus and blank, so it's actually plus and minus. So you just gotta make sure, because in your capacitors they show you the minus, but that's plus. And it is critical. Very, very critical. Okay. So we'll run plus, which is this side, and the minus is that side. So we'll put the plus in, and the minus in. Feed those through where it's tight. Bend them over a little bit. Like that. And that's all the capacitor it actually needs. It does not actually need the second one. Go ahead and solder this in. Okay. So you get that. So we'll take the side cuts, and you want to kind of hold these a little bit. Be careful, they're kind of hot. If they're really hot, use a pliers to hold it. So you're going to pop that, because if you don't, those will go flying across the room. Okay, then you go back in here and you make sure that it's right. And that's good. So there's the main B plus cap. And I replaced this one earlier with just a spare I had sitting around. It's the same basic capacitor that this was, except it is new and not going to explode. So we'll go ahead and replace these three and do the same kind of thing. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good thing. Alright, so here's the thing. If you're looking at a capacitor, let's see if I can get it up this close. See the dent? You don't want that. This is dead. Just figure this as trash. Or recycle it, actually. So here's a good one. Anyway, so if you'll notice, this is actually a 35 volt, whereas this was a 25 volt. Okay, but the capacitance is the same. This is fine to use in this place. The higher voltage is fine. You may not necessarily want to have higher capacitance. That could cause issues. Probably not, but the higher voltage is perfectly fine. And of course the same thing, there's a plus and a minus. So we run the minus to the minus, the plus to the plus. Okay. So the only capacitor left to do is this one. And since I don't have a replacement for that right now, I don't think I do anyway. Nope, 10 volt. Nope. Nope. So we'll go ahead and fire it back up. I actually know this cap is at least not terribly bad. So I'll show you what I got with the issue. The thing has another problem, but I want to go ahead and clean this board up because it needed it. Okay, so you got 4 screws. I just got 2 on here right now because I that are the grounding screws. You got one up top and one at the bottom. These two down here are actually into plastic, so right now I'm just going to fire this thing up on this so I can test it. Okay, we're going to turn this on and I'll show you what I got. And it does have another issue, but I'll show you what I got on the screen here, which is on the side right now, but that's the main system there. Okay, so you see what I got here. We've got basically a smeared blinking cursor, sort of. Okay, but the power supply is up and running. So now we're going to try and fix this issue here and see what that is. Because if you look at that, you can see the blinky cursor. Based on that, and the fact that it fills the entire screen, yeah, I would say our display and the drive board is fine. So now we need to look at the actual main board so we can figure out what's causing this video smearing. So the video input, you can see the schematic there. The video input comes in over here. It's right there, it goes up here. It's this line. The video input over to the tube. Okay, so you only got one transistor, Q302, and then it comes in pin 8. So the nice thing is you got 3 tied to ground, and those are easy enough to find on that thing. So let's see what that. Let's go see what that looks like on this system. You should see not a smeared signal, but let's take a look. Blanking pulses. Okay, that is not right. It should not look like that. That is definitely not what you want to see there. Okay. So let's move back to the brain board of this thing. I think we've got a chip that is not cycling right. There we go. I already kind of dug into this a little bit here. So I've actually disconnected this 9 because it's actually shorted and broke. And there's a couple other bits and pieces I've had to do here. There we go. I've partially rebuilt the power supply for testing purposes. And I've completely rebuilt this one. Except for the noise filter. Now let me tell you something. Little tip. If you get a 3 or a 4, the power supplies are generally the same. They come with this capacitor. This one. We'll do it. That. And that actually goes there. on the power supply board. And if you don't immediately just remove that before you even try turning that thing on, this is what you get. It will actually kind of explode. So just pull it out. It's way better. It's called let's see if you can see that or not there. C21, and you're better off without it. But if you can put another one there, that'd be great. It's 250 volt, 0.1 mic capacitor. It's just a noise filter on the incoming AC line. So the AC line goes from here through this resistor, and then that lays right across the line, and then you've got the noise, secondary noise filter, and some other noise filtering. So this stuff right there, his entire job is take out noise. And then you got the rectifier, and yeah, this is actually the rectifier for the main system. It doesn't look like this thing requires a whole lot. And then you got your two caps on this one. The two caps are still there. The new ones, of course, are just one. Once you rebuild it and everything else, this is kind of what you get. And if you have a cap put back in there, that'd be great, and you really should. So, you know, put a 0.1 250 volt or higher. It could be 0.1 thousand volts, fine, no problem. And yeah, so this computer, because it had those two floppy drives in them, required a secondary power supply. This is actually the secondary, and you can tell because there's no extra ground pin here, where on this one there is right there. So yeah. And that's the video board out of this 3. So the video board out of my 4, well, we'll show that here in a little bit. But the problem with the video smear, so you're probably watching this video mainly to figure out how do I fix that video smear issue. And basically you need to rebuild that video board, which again, the video board is this thing, and it sits basically there. So I'm going to show you how to rebuild this board. I'm looking at the camera from the side, it's kind of funny. So we're going to figure out how to rebuild this board. And really the part that goes bad is this little thing right there, which is actually labeled on the board as L301, I believe. Yeah, L301. And I'll show you in the schematic here what that part is. But that little coil goes open and then causes all kinds of issues. But the rest of these electrolytics need to be replaced. So we'll replace all the electrolytics on here. This coil actually works. This is the coil out of my 4. You'll notice it's identical. This one does not work. So yeah. And just so you know, I looked like online for well over a year trying to find what caused that video smear issue, and really no one had a good answer, which is kind of funny. So we're going to show you how to fix that and what it looks like when you do. But for right now, I need to finish upgrading this power supply board with new caps, and well, we'll go from there. So anyway, let's get to soldering. Okay, so here's a completed board, and so this is the main power supply board, and here's the secondary board. So it's a quick way to make a lot more life in these old computers. Replace the caps. Now, next we'll do the video board for my Model 3, which just has some like noise in it, which I have confirmed is also on that board, so that's not a big deal. We'll just recap that and then go from there. So it's just a lot of recapping. Caps are these capacitors, recapacitoring the system. Yeah. Okay, so this is the board that needs all the caps replaced. Those are all but one of the caps. I'm short one of them, but that's okay. I don't think that one's the issue, but if it is, I have a way to figure that out. So it's going to be this one, that one. Those three. This one, this one, this one. That's the one I can't get quickly, but it will be here eventually. As long as it's not causing the arcing right now, it's probably fine while we do testing. Okay, so let's get replacing these. Just one comical thought as I start. This capacitor here is a 470 mic 25 volt. This is also a 470 25 volt. A few years newer. Just funny. Don't forget also when you're working on this, clean these pots, because they really need it. They're going to be old. Give them some good deoxiding. They'll work much better, trust me. Okay, so as you see, it does not have the smear issue anymore. Alright, so this little part right there, which is a coil, was the actual problem with this video smear issue. Now it still needed capacitors. Actually, both these needed complete recapped. And to give you an idea just how many capacitors that is, yeah, it's that many. There's a lot. Yeah. So at least to do it right. So yeah, it's a little time, but at this point these work. And other than really needing cleaning, and this one actually, so here's the thing. This is actually white plastic. This is painted. This is what they did with these. They painted these. So this needs a little bit of touch up for some scars, and then honestly repainted. This thing actually just needs really scrubbed and probably a little de-yellowing. It's actually not bad, but it's not good. So yeah. Yeah, so I have two TRS-80s. Now I gotta figure out what to do with these things. Probably gaming. Both of them are 48K in case you're curious. So these particular models use the Z80 processor, and they're pretty good actually. The 4 is more capable than the 3, of course, but they both can actually run the same stuff. The 4 can just do a little bit more. My 4 is pretty well complete, except for, of course, didn't have any drives in it. But I'm not sure I'm worried about that because there's aftermarket, much like you've seen with the Atari 800, with this little device that allows you to kind of emulate a drive. This actually have the same kind of stuff too. This one does have 2 drives in it, and they appear to work. I don't really have any discs formatted for those, but yeah, I also, same idea. I would just simply put in the I can't remember what they call it. It's like TR floppy or something like that, but it's a little external Raspberry Pi or TR-Pi or something like that that kind of emulates the whole thing and gives you a lot more functionality. And you can actually just simply download programs right to it then. Yeah. This one, though, has a couple keyboard issues. You can actually see it's missing a couple keys. The stems are still there, so you can actually hit, like, if I hit a row of ones, you see it actually prints it. And the stem is there. The actual cap is gone. There is one on eBay. I'm debating whether or not to get that or 3D print it. I'll probably get it, because if I 3D print it, I've got to come up with a way to actually, you know, make the keys multiple colors, because like there's, you know, black with white lettering, for example. And the 9 on this keyboard I had to actually unsolder because it was shorted out, like on the whole time. Other than that, it's not bad. The up arrow key doesn't work right, and the 4 for some reason here doesn't work, but this 4 does, so it's kind of one of those, it's trade-off. You can make one work with the other ones. Anyway, everything else actually does seem to function on this pretty well, really. Like I said, you know, they're running right now, and keep in mind, this computer came out, what, 1980, I think? So it's a 42-year-old computer, and this thing, I want to say, came out in 83 or 84. I'll put that down there if I remember. You can actually just go look it right up on the RadioShackCatalogs.com. They have, like, you can literally just look at when this thing came out. Yeah, so I got 2 more to add to my collection here. And I intended to buy this one and get this completely refurbished and running, and I was having trouble figuring out what the problem was. So I decided to buy this one because, well, yeah, it was cheap, but it works. So anyway, if you enjoyed this, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Make sure you just leave us a comment if you use one of these or use something similar to this. If you really had fun doing, you know, there was, you know, several games for these, of course, you know, back in the day. So let us know what you did with these. If you had these in your high school, we had these in the high school. We had a couple of these, not many. We had mostly these in our high school, and occasionally here and there throughout. So,
well, hey, you guys make sure and follow us on social media if you haven't already. We'd love to interact with you. Talk radio, talk old computers, talk you name it.
Talk whatever you
want. If it uses electricity, we're pretty interested in some manner. So,
yep.
Yeah, all kinds of different stuff. As you look back over our content, go back and watch some old videos. We got a lot of them, well over 100 now. So all kinds of different subjects and discussions and
if you want to
like
laugh,
that,
go
so.
watch the first payphone video.
Oh,
that
boy.
I watched that this week again.
You like
and
that one, don't you?
I had to laugh.
The Amazon button one. That one was.
That
Yeah,
was a good
man,
one,
that is
too.
a low view count video too. It was,
I don't understand it.
I think those have almost died, haven't they?
Yeah, they never did well.
The video was about them discontinuing them,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was tech news something is
Yeah.
what we were trying at the time, but it had some really funny moments. Lots of good stuff.
So go watch it already.
Go watch it, yeah.
Yeah.
Go follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Email us at thedudes@threeoldtechdudes.com. And leave comments here on YouTube. That helps the algorithm almost more than anything else. You engage in some conversation, we will reply back. So it's hard to keep up sometimes. We do get a lot of good comments. So, hey, tell you what, until next time, I'm Timmy.
I'm Justin.
And I'm Nathan.
And this is 3 Old Tech Dudes. Thanks for hanging out with us here on 3 Old Tech Dudes. Please subscribe to us here on YouTube for more tech old and new, tinkering at the workbench, repairs, ham radio, electronics, computers, and more. Please like this video and share 3OTD with your friends to help us grow the channel. We tweet at 3 Old Tech Dudes 1 on Twitter, and you can keep up with us on Facebook. Just search for 3OTD and look for our logo. Thanks so much for watching.